In yesterday's video, I talked about my Batman Arkham hot takes, and it seems like you guys actually received that video very well. It seems like you guys enjoyed it. So, as you can tell from the title of this video, today I'm going to be reacting to your guys' Batman Arkham hot takes. We're going to talk about it, and if you guys want to have your hot takes read, make sure to submit it down in the comments below. I might turn this into a little series if you guys enjoy it, because I do enjoy looking at your guys' opinions and responding to them here in this video. That is something that I would like to do. So, yeah, make sure you guys put down your hot takes down in the comments below. If you guys enjoy, make sure to subscribe for more content. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs. And enough plugging my stuff. We're going to get right in here with the first hot take. The first hot take we have states, the Arkham Knight boss fights aren't that bad. Like, sure, there's Deathstroke, but then there's Killer Croc, Jason Pig, and Albert King. Like, they're not all that bad. Yeah, and this is one I absolutely do agree with. I do think the Arkham Knight boss fights are a little bit crapped on too much. I shouldn't even say a little bit. They are crapped on way too much. Like, how about the boss fight with the Arkham Knight at the end? A nice little stealth section one, because that's not one you see too often. Think about, like, the Deadshot one from Batman Arkham Origins, which was phenomenal. It's a similar concept here, but instead of Deadshot, it's Jason Todd. It's something that's actually quite entertaining for me personally. Albert King's wasn't that bad either. It's one that goes under the radar quite a bit. The pig one, again, that was also very good because it's something a little bit different. It's something that we are not really used to seeing. Yes, Deathstroke was awful. The Killer Croc one wasn't that bad either, to be honest. It was a similar concept to the Albert King one. So overall, I do agree with this. I don't know how hot of a take this is considered, but I do actually agree with this one overall. The next one here states, here's my hot takes. Number 1, Arkham Knight has the best story out of all the Batman Arkham games. I can absolutely see where this is, coming from. I can absolutely see where this guy's coming from here. Considering the fact that this is the end of the franchise, they wanted to go on a big bang. Us having Batman's identity revealed and all that stuff to show the end of an era. I absolutely respect it, and I thought the story was pretty good for the most part. Is it the best out of all the Arkham games? I don't know if I can go that far. It's a bit of a stretch. I would actually argue that the Batman Arkham Origins storyline is better than the Arkham Knight one. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's better than Cities, though. I think Cities is a bit of a goose chase sometimes. But I do think the Arkham Knight story is very, very well done. It's very well written. It gets crapped on a lot, but I really like it, actually. It's definitely better than Arkham Asylum. So I would say Arkham Knight has probably the second best story out of all the entire Batman games. So I can absolutely see why someone would rank it number 1. Number 2, Arkham Knight's Riddler trophies are actually fun to get. Man, no Riddler trophies are fun to get. No Riddler trophies are fun to get. But I will say that Arkham Knight does a good job of kind of mixing it up, helping, having you use the car a little bit. Something to mix it in with some pretty difficult puzzles that really make you think for a minute. So I can see where you're coming from on that one. Number 3, I like Jason Todd's portrayal in Batman Arkham Knight. Man, I can't say you're wrong here. I don't think Jason Todd inherently is a bad, character to have as the Arkham Knight. I think it's just because of the way that people were misled in marketing that made them kind of have such a sour taste towards Jason Todd in the first place. But if you look at it at face value for what it is, I don't think that Jason Todd being the Arkham Knight is inherently bad at all. I think it's a good classic, revenge story for getting back at someone who, quote-unquote, abandoned him, right? Like, Jason Todd feels abandoned by Batman because Batman didn't really look for, Jason Todd, at least in his eyes. I'm not saying Batman didn't try, but maybe Batman didn't try as hard as he should have, and Jason holds resentment for allowing Joker to hold him hostage, hold him captive for over a year. But I kind of wonder, what happened when Jason Todd escaped? Did he just escape and then all of a sudden start working towards becoming the Arkham Knight? I wish we had more of that backstory of what happened after he escaped, but it is what it is. But I don't think that Jason Todd being the Arkham Knight is inherently a bad thing, so I can see where you're coming from here. Your next hot take, Batman Arkham Asylum is the worst Batman Arkham game. I have to agree with you on this one, and I don't think that this is actually much of a hot take. If you look at these games at face value, I honestly do believe that Arkham Asylum is the worst one. Now, hold on there. I know a lot of people have nostalgia for this game. It's a fantastic game. Even today, it's still a fantastic game. It is starting to age a little bit. Mostly in the combat sequences and such, it's starting to age a little bit because it is kind of clunky and chunky in certain spots. But the fact that it's just now starting to show its age, Batman Arkham Asylum is an amazing game. The story is very good. Everything's very well done. The only thing I would add to it are side missions. and only a few of them really. But besides that, like, it's a fantastic game. It holds up very well, considering that it was made in 2009. But if you look at it objectively, it's just the worst out of the 4 games, mechanically, story-wise, lack of side missions, and content overall in the game. It's just the worst objectively if you take your emotions and nostalgia out of it. And that's not to dig against Arkham Asylum. It was the first of the series. It was the first of its time. It just doesn't hold up compared to the other games. But that's a praise on future titles. That's not a knock on Arkham Asylum. That's just a praise on Rocksteady for improving their future titles. But I agree, it's objectively the worst. Now, for your last hot take, and I don't know if I agree with this or not, because I'd really have to think, but your hot take is that the Mr. Freeze fight isn't the best boss fight. Now, no matter what, I don't care what people say, it's 100% top 3. It goes like, there's Mr. Freeze, there's Deadshot, and there's Deathstroke. Both of those from Arkham Origins, and obviously Mr. Freeze from Arkham City. Now, it kind of just depends on what you prefer. If you prefer the hand-to-hand combat, then you're most likely picking Deathstroke as your number 1. But if you prefer stealth, then it's going to come down to the style of stealth. Do you want a bunch of goons to take out, plus the main guy? Or would you rather be a one-on-one situation? And you could argue that the Mr. Freeze boss fight's kind of like a mixture of stealth and hand-to-hand combat, although I think it definitely leans more on the side of stealth, because you can't just be reckless and run around and start punching as you please. So I would definitely argue it's more stealth-based. However, I don't know, it's so hard, because I don't know if I can even, really differentiate the two. I might be inclined to agree. It's between that one and the Deadshot one for me personally. So it kind of just comes down to overall preference. I would have to play them both and then make my decision. But let me know what you guys think. What is the best boss fight in the Arkham franchise? Because honestly, I don't know. This is very tough for me. This is very tough, but it's top 2 for me, I think. Now, we're going to go through one more for today, but this one is a bit of a longer one, so don't worry. This is still going to take me quite a bit of time to sift through. So the first hot take you have is that Batman Arkham Asylum is the best out of the trilogy, including Origins. Had the best theme, knew what it wanted to be from start to finish, and for me, had some of the best character appearances besides a few from Origins and City. Now, that is a spicy take. That's a spicy one. I do not agree that Arkham Asylum is the best. In fact, I actually think, objectively, it is the worst. However, if you're talking strictly from a story mode standpoint, it knew what direction it wanted to go. It was a simple Batman and Joker theme. I could see why people would like the story the most objectively, could see why it's the best. However, if you're going to say to me that you think it would be the best in terms of combat, stealth, some people like the simplicity of it, that's where you're going to lose me entirely. But if you're just talking strictly through a standpoint of, the theme itself, maybe the atmosphere, I can at least see what you're trying to get at, but I personally just don't agree with it at all. For your second hot take, the Batmobile was one of the best additions to the series. The only issue I have with it are the Cobras, obviously, and in my experiences with other people for first-time players of the series, it puts them off of Night. But for long-time players, I think we should be very grateful. And honestly, yeah, that is pretty spot on. The Batmobile was a fantastic addition to the game. Overall, that I think people don't appreciate the car itself, how good the car actually drives, how good, the car actually fights people, how good the car just operates in general. I think it works very well in some missions as well. The only time I think it's kind of jammed in a little bit too much is when they introduce Cobra tanks, because to me, I think they added that just to have a little bit of, overall filler within their story. But I don't think it was overused. I do think it was a great addition to the franchise, something to mix it up. I think if there was no Batmobile, I think you would hear a lot of people say, well, I wish that we had the Batmobile in this game, but we never got it because Rocksteady didn't want to give it to us. So I think it was a fantastic addition, and I think it's something that needs to be appreciated more throughout the course of these games. Your third hot take, the Arkham Knight suit is the worst out of the series. Not saying it's bad. I just think a comic accurate or a suit that is very standard and simple just works the best. You know what, that's actually kind of interesting, because I was thinking originally that the Arkham Knight suit was my favorite, but now that I'm thinking about it, the only one I think that might be worse might be Arkham Asylum's, and I think that's just due to the graphics in that game as well. Like, character designs in Arkham Asylum are not that great compared to the other games. And so I think Arkham Asylum's might be the worst just due to the graphic nature of that game. The graphical nature of that game, I should say. But I think, now that I think about it, you might be right. I was thinking Arkham Knight's my favorite, but now I'm starting to think it's Arkham City. Arkham City might actually be my favorite bat suit because that's very simple. I love the design of the suit in that game. However, Arkham Knight's is still very good. It's on the level of like Arkham Origins. It's very similar. I honestly, yeah, I think you might have just changed my opinion on something. I think you might be right. Your next hot take. The Joker was overused in the series, and it felt like the devs had to cram him into everything they did. In Asylum, he was at his best in my opinion, although he did fall short sometimes, but there was no need for his amount of screen time in Origins, as I think that game would have fared way better story-wise if it was solely about crime bosses, such as Black Mask and the Penguin. In City, he did kind of steal the limelight from Doctor Strange, when the game hyped him so much, and in Arkham Knight he was done correctly, but again, stole the limelight from Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight. Now, I don't think this is actually considered too big of a hot take. I know a lot of people, especially the people who are more hardcore Batman fans, generally felt like the Joker was overused, like there's other villains to be used, so why aren't we exploring that in other titles? I don't think he was overused, like, severely. I can agree that he was a bit overused. You know, people say Arkham Origins usually is like the prime example, or Arkham Knight is especially the prime example, because he's dead, let's move on from the Joker already. But at the same time, the devs wanted to use him because the Joker is the selling point for a lot of people. When you think of Batman, a lot of people think of the Joker. And they want to sell to the casual audience as well, because the casual audience is the ones that bring in the most amount of money, because they make up the majority of the fan base. So that's why they felt the need to use the Joker every game. Batman Arkham Asylum, I thought, did a great job with him. Arkham City's the only one that I'm like, I don't really care about the Joker that much in this game. I liked his use in Batman Arkham Origins. I even liked his use in Batman Arkham Knight, particularly for a couple reasons. One, he sang a song to us. That was fantastic. But not just that, but he was also extremely funny in Arkham Knight. Like, I know that he's called the Joker, right? Like, sometimes he can be kind of funny, but I found it to be more funny than usual in Batman Arkham Knight. So I could agree that he was kind of overused, but I don't think it was that bad or that big of a deal in comparison to what could have been. If he was like, if they brought him back to life or something like that for Batman Arkham Knight, yeah, he's officially really overused and it's really bad. But I don't think that he was, overused so bad to the point that people would shut off their game about it. And for the last hot take in the video, Two-Face was the worst villain in the series besides all the ones that barely had any screen time. Also, not sure if this is a hot take, but I know a lot of people will disagree with me for it. But he's the worst in my opinion because literally every time we see him, he gets taken out instantly and you barely hear from him for the entire game, or is turned into low-stakes side quests, and even as in a DLC with Robin, it's forgettable, and with Catwoman, she literally just goes after him so she can get her stuff. Like, come on, he had a lot of potential. Now, if you're talking worst in terms of you don't like Two-Face, then I think a lot of people will disagree with you, and that's definitely a hot take. If you're talking just the way that he was used and he could have been done a lot better, I 100% agree, and I think most of the audience would agree, because Two-Face could be a very interesting character. And I wish that he was in Batman Arkham Origins to this very day. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, and that is what it is. But yeah, in Arkham City, he was kind of relegated to, like, just a little Catwoman side mission. Like, that's kind of who Catwoman has beef with in this game. And then he's relegated to a side mission in Batman Arkham Knight, which I actually didn't hate that side mission necessarily. But I kind of wish that there was, like, I don't even know what else you could have done. You could have done something similar to, like, the murder investigations, but done it, like, say, oh, there was a bank robbery, and you have to figure out who did it. Lead you back to Two-Face, and it could have been a whole thing. Something that would have been very interesting. I don't hate the fact that Two-Face was used, though, for a bank robbery side mission. It's not that at all. It's just that he goes down like any typical thug, and like you say, is instantly gotten rid of. It's not that difficult to deal with Two-Face in that game. So, I can absolutely see where you're coming from. As the worst overall villain, I'm not sure I agree. I might have to, actually, now that I think about it, because if you think of any of the other major villains in that game, or in any of the games for that matter, I can't think of another one who's like a main villain that was used less, or used less effectively, than Two-Face. And if there is someone else, let me know, and I will, just to help jog my memory a little bit, but yeah, I could absolutely agree with you. I don't think that this is that hot of a take, but maybe it is, and I'm just wrong. And that is it for the hot takes I have here today, guys. I had a lot of fun going through these, just talking about it, because it really makes you think and makes you change your perspective overall. So let me know your guys' hot takes down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys, think overall these hot takes I read here today. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Make sure to subscribe for more content, as we are going nowhere. This channel is only growing, and I want to thank you guys for the support. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more content. Peace!